Picture this. The emergency alert goes off, your phone screams, the radio cuts in. Whatever it is, hurricane, chemical spill, civil unrest, it doesn't matter. What matters is what happens next. Every person within 10 miles does the same thing at the same time. They grab what they can, they get in their cars, and they all drive to the same place. The school gym, the community center, the big box store, the highway out of town. They go where the crowd goes, because the crowd feels like safety. And that instinct, that deeply human instinct to move toward other people when the world goes sideways, is the instinct that gets people killed. Every major disaster in modern American history tells the same story. The Superdome during Katrina held over 20,000 people, with no power, no sanitation, and supplies that ran out in hours. The highways out of Houston before Hurricane Rita created a traffic standstill so severe that over 100 people died in the evacuation. Not from the storm, but from the escape. The very places designed to save people became the places people died waiting. Most people think the goal is to find other people. It isn't. The goal is to survive. And those two things are not always the same. Today I'm going to show you exactly where to go when everything goes wrong, and why the place nobody thinks of in the first 5 minutes is the place you want to be. Location number 3 is somewhere you've driven past 100 times, and location number 5 is the reason the people who make it through rarely make the news. But first, we need to understand why the instinct to follow the crowd is so dangerous, because until you understand the enemy, you can't beat it. When disaster strikes, every designated public shelter in a given area was designed for a specific capacity. A school gymnasium built for 300 people doesn't get better when 3,000 show up. It gets worse, faster. Resources divide. Sanitation fails. Disease spreads. Security breaks down. And here's the number that changes everything. FEMA's own guidance recommends having 72 hours of supplies on hand, because that is the minimum window before organized relief can reach most affected areas. Most public shelters don't stock for that window. They stock for hours, so the building with the sign out front isn't protection, it's a waiting room with a limited supply of everything you need. Here's where you actually want to be. Location 1. A well-stocked regional hospital, but not the emergency room. The ER is chaos. The rest of a large hospital is one of the most disaster-hardened structures in any American city. Backup generators, water reserves, medical staff, pharmaceutical supplies, structural reinforcement, built to code standards that residential buildings will never meet. If you have a legitimate reason to be there, and a medical event qualifies, a major hospital campus keeps functioning long after the surrounding area has gone dark. Location 2. A rural motel or small inn, at least 30 miles outside the affected zone. Not a highway chain, a small independent property off the main road. Here's why this matters. When everyone evacuates, they flood the interstates. The interstate motels fill in the first hour. A rural motel on a county road 10 miles off the highway has vacancy when the franchise properties are turning people away, and it sits off the main flow of desperate, resource-depleted evacuees. Obscurity is a form of safety. Location 3. This is the one you've driven past. A farm supply store, a grain elevator, a feed co-op on the edge of a rural town. These buildings are engineered for bulk storage and structural load far beyond residential standards. They hold food, grain, feedstock, preserved goods, in quantities that dwarf any convenience store or grocery. They carry fuel. They carry tools. They are almost never in the path that evacuees travel, because evacuees aren't thinking about the county road at the edge of town. They're thinking about the highway. The people who know about this are the ones who already live out there. Get there early. Get off the main road, and that building becomes a resource point that the crowd never reaches. Location 4. Underground. Any below-grade structure, not in a flood zone. A basement in solid ground. A storm cellar on higher terrain. A parking structure below street level in a city not threatened by rising water. Wind, blast pressure, and airborne hazards all travel horizontally. They follow the path of least resistance across the surface. A below-grade structure puts mass and earth between you and whatever is moving above. The critical distinction here is flood risk. Underground and water don't mix. Know your terrain before you go low. But if flooding isn't the threat, if wind, blast, or chemical dispersal is, going below grade puts you in a fundamentally different physical environment than every person standing on the street. Location 5. This is the one that almost never makes the news, because the people who use it don't need rescuing. A pre-positioned location you already know. A property belonging to family or a trusted friend outside the metropolitan area. A hunting cabin, a rural piece of land. Somewhere you have been before, somewhere you know the water source and the entry roads, and somewhere that is not on any official evacuation route or shelter list. This works for one reason that no government building can replicate. Nobody else is going there. The capacity is fixed at however many people you've planned for. The supplies are whatever you put there in advance. The security is whatever you've arranged. There is no line, no crowd, no resource division, and no breakdown of order, because the order was set before the disaster arrived. This is not a luxury. It is a decision made in calm that pays off in chaos. Look, nobody checks evacuation routes on a Tuesday morning when everything is fine. Nobody thinks about where they'd actually go until the phone is screaming and the clock is already running. The difference between a family that makes it through and one that spends 3 days in a parking garage is not luck. It's a decision that was made before it had to be. Know your locations. Know your routes. Know which way you're going before the alert tells you to go somewhere. The crowd is not your friend when the crowd is the problem.